Hey guys, welcome back. It's Monday. We got a 2001 Chevy Impala. Car originally came in for a intermittent no crank, no start. Intermittent isn't the word. Had this thing here for 3 days last week. Got it to happen once, just long enough to verify there was no power to the starter on a crank position. Verify it's not a security issue. Went to check a little further and then the car started and didn't repeat again. So it's back. So we can try to find it again. But while it's here, the customer also asked, hey, it's not running great. However, it was explained, but it's running crappy, like it's misfiring. It's got a check engine light on. So while we're waiting for the no start to surface again, we're going to check out the running issue. Try to tackle two problems at once, which I don't like to do. I usually like to do one at a time, but it is what it is. In the essence of saving time, I did start to look at it and then stopped, and I figured I'd bring you guys along so we can get this thing checked out quick before my morning gets away from me. Come on. It's got a little bit of an interesting history. Apparently this motor was taken apart by, we'll say, mechanic A. And then something happened with mechanic A, and he, I don't know, moved away or something happened, and the owner of the vehicle found somebody, mechanic B, that was willing to put it back together, literally with a box of parts, so I'm told. And they've been battling issues with it ever since. So I'm not real excited about this one. Which may start to explain all the... Hold on. Try to talk and do this at the same time. I'm not that good yet. May start to explain some of the weird problems they're having. I don't know how it was put together, with what kind of parts it was put together. It does run. Like I said, it runs like it's got a really bad miss. P0300. There's your Misfire. P0442 for... Can you guys see that? For evap small leak. I'm not going to worry about that one right now. Fuel level sensor voltage high. That's a P0463. I got to put my old man glasses on because I can't see it. P0507 idle system high. We got an oil pressure switch circuit. EGR closed position performance, which can cause a misfire. But let's concentrate. I'm going to go with this P0300 for the moment. Let's go back. See how much I can get done from the seat of my pants, because I'm lazy. Let's go to... I don't like the misfire graphic, and I'll show you why. Not on this anyway. Let's start it up. Why? Because according to this, there is no misfire. And that's why I don't like it. So let's not even go in there. Let's just go live data. Misfire. Try to keep that where we both can see it. Cylinder 5 is the one that looks like it's... Now it says random. Keeping in mind, when it says random, we can get one cylinder misfire, then you just kind of get, you may get 3, 16, 22, and that's enough to trip the random, but it's really not. What you'll get, I call it sympathy misfires. You know, this cylinder's misfiring, but it's causing another one to misfire, right? And if you look at the history, you'll see what we're talking about, right? Here we go. Here's our history. Obviously, it's cylinder 5, and we have smaller misfires on the other cylinders. Probably just, like I said, a sympathy misfire. It may be real, maybe not. I don't think it is. I'm going to concentrate right there. So let's go with that. I'm trying not to get this thing too hot, but that is misfiring. Now the trick is it, right, basic, is it fuel, is it spark, or is it a mechanical issue? Well, let's shut this thing off. Let's see if we can put this thing into clear flood mode. Spark, fuel, or mechanical. Oh, that's what I was up to. We were going to do a clear flood crank to see what the cranking cadence sounds like. If it sounds like, before we bother doing a relative compression, does it even sound like it's a mechanical issue, right? this thing sounds pretty good. It actually cranks decent. So let's start it back up. Putting my glasses back down. One of the things I do want to look at, a good indicator when you get a misfire, is fuel trims. Right, fuel trims that tell us if it's getting too much fuel, not enough fuel, kind of put us in a direction. I do like to go that way. Pa, 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 pa. Let's go. Don't do that. We are in closed loop. I'll try to keep this turned so you guys can see it, and I can see it, right? Did I lose it? Oh, it was right up top. I passed right by it. Why don't you guys tell me, man? Show those, just those two. Short term, long term, we are high, which is telling us, right? I'm in focus, yeah. Telling us that we are trying to adjust for, the computer is trying to adjust for too much air, not enough fuel. That could be no spark, it could be too much air. Look at it, now we're pegged out. It could be no spark, it could just be a vacuum leak. Easiest way to tell, we only have vacuum, theoretically we only have vacuum when the throttle plate is closed. So if I open the throttle plate, hence giving it some gas, and those numbers stay the same, then it's not a vacuum leak. If the numbers start to flatten out or come back down, then we know we have a vacuum issue, right? Look at that, right to zero. A little closer, right to zero. I come off, we let it idle, numbers go right back up. That's a pretty good indicator we got a good vacuum, good sized vacuum leak. Oop, am I centered? Am I centered? No glare? Ah, this is tough. Alright, so that's about as much as I can get done from the pocket of my butt seat here in the driver's seat. So now at this point we're gonna have to get out, and maybe it'll start again, who knows. Now the easiest and quickest thing to do, as you can see, these are my extension leads for that crank, the starter crank relay. We're gonna leave that in place for now in case we can duplicate, on the off chance we can duplicate the problem. Number 5 cylinder was the one, number 5? Oh, I forgot now. Yeah, it was number 5. Cylinder 5 is on the back side, 135. What I want to do is I want to quickly hit this up and see if we can make this correct with a little bit of alternative fuel. You guys can see that. Hold on. I'm getting this nice and hot and I'm going to have to work on it, right? You can watch those fuel trims climb right back up again. I don't know if I can do this and this at the same time, but I'm going to give it a little shot right here. Watch those numbers come back down. I'm starting to think we have an intake manifold leak, which is great because I hate doing these. The only thing I'm going to want to check is I will check, make sure there's no like a hose off or anything. We'll do that real quick, and if I can't find it, or if I can prove it a little more solid, this thing's going to be for an intake manifold. We'll follow up in a minute. That show up? I'm sure it does. That is pouring out from underneath the intake right there. I do wish that I could see it a little better, because it's billowing out from underneath somewhere. I may get my borescope out and try to sneak it under there to see if it's... I think the only answer may be to pop this upper piece off. Let me shut this off. Take the upper intake off, tape off the ports, and then try it again. I don't know, give me a minute, we'll have to figure this one out. Alright, here's what we got. My best makeshift tool was take the upper intake off, and let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. This is real backyard stuff. I did what I had to do though. I'm going to center this just a little bit so you can see this a little better. Let me knock the camera around. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, hold on, there we go. Alright, come on, there we go. Duct tape. I just took a couple strips of, I took the upper intake off, a couple strips of duct tape. I literally sliced a hole in the duct tape and stuck my smoke machine nozzle in there. For all of you people that were watching a few minutes ago and went, it's a fuel injector O-ring, it's a fuel injector O-ring. Let's see if I can zoom in right there. Whoop, wrong way. Fuel injector O-ring. I ain't got to pull an intake. Whoop whoop. Well, let's shut this thing off. My big head in the way, sorry. I thought about it after I shut the camera off. I said, what's the chance the fuel injector O-ring is leaking really bad? Well, win-win. So, we're going to pull this fuel rail up, swap some O-rings, and we'll check this thing again. And maybe I ain't got to pull this lower intake. Yay! Alright, let's do the quick update. I took the... I'm trying to think where the hell I was. I took the fuel rail off. Not to record it. It's too many interruptions. It's just a fuel rail. I'll point out the details. It's not that big of a deal, unless everything is stuck or broken, which is kind of the case. Which is another reason I didn't film it, because it was just it was back and forth, too much going on. 2 of the O-rings I can't even find. I did stick my borescope into the lower part of the intake to see if they were sitting in there. I don't know where they are. There's 2 injectors that had no lower O-rings at all. I have cleaned everything up. I got O-rings on order. I got a plenum gasket on order. Let me show you what's going on real quick. The fuel rail is simple enough. 2 fuel lines here, a hold down bolt over here, 2 hold down bolts here. Pull the rail up. One of my issues was with the clips. They're brittle as anything. A couple of them almost seem like they weren't even in place. This one's missing these stupid green locks. You know, because God forbid they may pop. Somebody may stick a finger down in there and pop them off. Which it's a joke. It'll never happen. I don't know why they put these things on it. All they do is make things difficult. I got one's missing here. One's broken over here. 1 or 2 of them came off my hands. Literally like the connector came off. Like I don't even know if they were even on. Or if they weren't on well. So I got it all apart. There was a nice little ring of like baked on crud inside the hole. So I did manage to get in there and clean it up with a little chemical, a little wire brush and a drill, you know, almost kind of like we do with the calipers. Then cleaned it all out. Sprayed it, vacuumed it back out again as much as I could. A little O-ring lube, if you look, wondering what the white stuff is, it's O-ring lube. This way I'm ready for the new stuff when it comes in. I got the rails over here, it's all cleaned up, waiting for the new O-rings. I'm not going to take these off the rail. These were not leaking fuel, although my luck they'll leak fuel afterwards, but I did not want to take them off. I don't want to invite more problems in this case. You know, I pull one of them off and the injector breaks or something. I'm trying not to make this a Pandora's box / rabbit hole. I'd like to get this thing back together and running decent, because this does have, I still have the starting issue. I still think I have it, the belt tensioner looks worn. So there's major issues with this thing. I would like to just get it running better, which was one of the 2 main concerns. The O-rings are done. Going back to this bit crude, but I'm going to smoke each runner just to make sure this, if there's any major leaks coming through the new O-rings. Make sure I didn't pinch any O-rings, right? It happens. Sure I'm not. There we go. That was the tape leaking. Alright, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of the intake back on, and then we'll actually I'm gonna hook up the injector harness, pressurize the fuel system, make sure there's no fuel leaks, then put the upper intake back on, and we'll smoke it again. Alright. Intake's back together. I'm in the process of smoking it. I have a little bit of smoke leaking out around the cap that I got in the throttle body. I got one of those little plastic things that don't hold particularly well, but it's holding. And actually my machine just shut off. We'll put that baby back on. It is actually building up pressure, so I'm happy. It's actually trying to blow the cap out, so I'm pretty satisfied. I'm just going to finish buttoning up a couple loose ends. We'll shut this off, start this thing back up. We'll see what the fuel trims do. We'll see how it runs. I'm pretty confident. I got to put the belt back on, and we'll see how this thing finishes up. And now I still got to address the intermittent, mysterious no crank, but one thing at a time. I should have stopped before I took this apart. I'm finishing this thing up. This is the air filter cover. Let me see if you can see that. What that says? That says flow. This is the air filter. This side is the engine. Air goes that way. You see that? It's backwards. Remember I said this car's got a lot of issues? Take a look. Fuel trims. Can you see that? I think so. Fuel trim straighten right out. Short term's at -1. Long term's at 5. Oh, we are on closed loop. Okay, awesome. O2 sensors look to be switching. I should say the O2 sensor looks to be switching normally. Let me shut this off real quick. I'm gonna clear everything. It had a bunch of codes in it, and I had a bunch of problems. I'm gonna road test it. We'll see what comes back. The owner's aware there may be other issues with it. They're obviously not looking to put a ton of money into this thing. We still got this. Let's got my relay dangling over there because we still got this intermittent no crank. We'll see what comes of it. I'm not going to hang on to it forever. We'll try to duplicate it again. It seems to be pretty sporadic as we saw before, and that's about it. Two injector O-rings, massive airflow sensor on backwards, and I guess here's the lesson of the day, tip of the day, whatever you want to call it. Oh, how's that for a light? Ooh, terrible. You know, the techs know where I'm going to go with this. I guess as a car owner, if you got to, you know, pick. I've said it before. Pick one person you can trust. When you go to a bunch of different people that are either unreliable or just incapable, you ended up bringing in one guy takes it apart, another guy puts it together, and a third guy's got to fix it. And then you know, so don't be surprised you bring it somewhere and the person, the tech, the shop is a little reluctant to work on the car when you say, you know, it's been 14 other places and it's been ripped apart and put together wrong, whatever. Not that we don't want to work on it, it just makes things tough and unpredictable and very hard to write an accurate estimate. And nobody likes making that phone call, hey, by the way, found more, I found more, I found more. It's not fun. So that's it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I know I did. I know I didn't have to do the lower intake manifold, and I'm glad it's getting out of here. Subscribe, ring the bell, comments, let me know what you think. How would you have handled this job if it rolled into your shop? Would be a good question. Curious what you think. Thanks. See you soon.